welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about all kinds of fun things, ideas that matter, ways that we connect, and I'm glad you've made the connection and are with us today. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and the goal of our show is to explore a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us that get us thinking, get us feeling, get us imagining, get us connected, and perhaps inspired to do something. Sometimes the way that we're connected is a grand mystery. Have you ever been thinking about someone and then they call or a text comes in? Or have you had that funny feeling and you decide, I just don't think I'm going to take that road today. I'm going to take a different road. And then you find out later something happened on that road, or you had a chance to see something extraordinary that you wouldn't have seen, like trees in bloom. Do you ever dream about people you know, and the dream feels so real? Or feel you get a sign from someone who's passed on that is like a message just for you? A lot of us call that intuition. And it seems like folks have an incredible, there are some folks that just have an incredible connection and have a knowingness about the future. Is that a skill that we can have? As children, did we have this intuition and did it get lost along the way? Is it a skill that we can learn? Will it be something more commonplace in the future? Do you remember the Star Trek, The Next Generation? They had an empathic communicator. Her name was Deanna Troi. Is that what the future looks like, where we get to have communication and connections in new ways? Well, today we have Christine Schroeder, who is an intuitive medium, and she's going to be talking about all kinds of ways that we can connect. As a psychic intuitive, she's worked in this field for over 20 years. She has honed her craft to meet the needs of a wide variety of clientele, locally and nationally. Christine's insights are profound, and her demeanor is absolutely genuine. She is a warm and welcoming person with a simple philosophy about psychic abilities. Christine says everyone can recognize their intuition, psychic abilities, and merely put that intuition to use. Now, today she's going to be talking to us about all kinds of things. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you, Lori. Great to see you.
I have to share with the audience that I have my animals in here. We're going to be talking about animals. And as I was talking about, is it something we've lost, my dog started digging around. I think my dog was digging for intuition. Where is it? Is it something we've lost? You took it very literally.
Yes, you did.
So we've got 3 dogs that are in the studio and a dog at home, but we brought 3. We're going to do in our first segment a conversation about dogs, but we're also going to be talking about careers, relationship, dreams, relatives who've passed on, and maybe a suggestion or two of things that may be coming up in people's lives. So I've got some folks that are going to be calling in to get a reading. But Christine, I just wanted to welcome you, and if you'd like to say a few things before we have you start jumping in and talking to animals.
Well, thank you. It's lovely to be here. It's a perfect day for animal readings, and you have got just the most wonderful animals to connect with. It can be a real joy to do this type of reading, so...
Well, why don't we start with Shiloh? Because he seemed to be like, he's never done that digging around thing, but he was just like absolutely looking like, we've lost something. Where can we find it? What's up with Shiloh right now?
Shiloh is a very interesting animal. He's a mix of, not necessarily breed that I'm reading here, but I'm reading his attitude. He's a mix of wanting to, what I call, get things done, but he is also always very inquisitive. He needs to know what's going on. He needs to be aware. He needs to have his finger on the pulse. But he's also a little bit of a nervous Nelly. He can be a little high anxiety. So it's kind of this mix of needing to be in charge and yet not quite sure. He reminds me a little bit of Don Knox.
Oh my goodness!
On Mayberry
the Andy Griffith.
Yes. I've got my gun ready, but I don't know if I need it.
Yes, he can turn things into a drama that really aren't a drama. That's for sure.
Yes, but his heart's always in the right place, and he's always at the ready. And if you need him, he'll be there.
Terrific.
So in that sense, and he likes his job, and
good.
His job is to corral you and everybody else on the planet. So
does he have any special message for us right now?
Right now, he's so excited to be part of the group, and that's part of his digging. He's like, I don't know, I just got to figure out where to go and what to do. So he's got that little rev to him. He's also, I know that you have animals on your property, and he likes that part of his job. So when he's away, he's half in and half out.
He's kind of worried about his job
What
back
am
at
I
home.
missing at
Back
home?
at the
Where are
farm.
they? What should we be doing? Mom, is this all okay?
Are they going to be okay left alone?
Exactly.
Right,
exactly.
right. So tell me about my little Bailey back here. He's a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel.
Yes, and Bailey is king of the walk in his head. He's not, but he does it with a very gentle swagger. He reminds me of a Frank Sinatra character.
A crooner?
Yes, a little bit charming,
Yes.
always a little bit game for whatever's going on, king
But
of
a
the
little
pack.
bit of a bad boy.
A little bit of a bad boy if he needs to be, super charm. Yep, I've got it. Definitely knows how to get the ladies, all of that. But he's also very heartfelt in that, to me, he's got that cavalier, calm, I love it, it's all good, thank you, kind of an attitude, where it just kind of mellows out as well. But we were watching him earlier, and that tail is constantly going. And that's also, the tail directly connects to his brain. Everything you think he's thinking, you can see in his face and in his body language. And he's very aware, though he's not in any sense hyper about it.
No.
It's just a real mellow.
He's almost cat-like in the home. He just is so mellow. But when he's outside, he's active and wants to play with his ball. And...
Yeah, but he's just surveying his domain. It's that kind of a thing.
Well, he certainly does have a thing going with Daisy. Daisy's also with us today. She's a Pomeranian Chihuahua. What does Daisy have to say today?
Well, Daisy is the princess, and she is very loved, and she knows it. She's a pocket dog in one sense, and yet very commanding in another. She is just as comfortable on your lap as she is out there running the roost. She is also, though, very much nurturing. She's very attuned to people, much more so than the average Chihuahua. Most Chihuahuas are about themselves and one owner type dogs, and she is not. She's very adaptable. She loves the fact that there are other dogs in her world now. I know that was not always the case. So from her perspective, this is just like being at Club Med. This is just yay. I get to go to the beach every day. And she's an intelligent dog, but because her needs are so met, she doesn't really have to work hard at anything. So in her life right now, it's all good.
Well, great. Well, let's hear from other folks that have dogs that are wanting to, dogs and cats and all kinds of things. I'm going to ask Jeff first to join us. Jeff, how are you doing? Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning. What's your question?
I got a cat. His name is Gizmo. Had him for a few years. He's a full-blown Persian, and his coat gets very thick. And we cut it just to get him trimmed. And I'm like, is he cold? Does he like getting his hair trimmed, or is he more comfortable?
Gotcha. In one sense, he's more comfortable because it's not as matted, so it doesn't pull the way it did. But when they shave them like that, when they cut it all back, it feels pricklier for him. It doesn't lay the way it used to. So he walks a little funny. It's, if you've ever had a new haircut and you're just not quite sure of it, that's kind of how he's doing. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't groom the same way. It doesn't feel like it did before. I don't know. It's not physically painful or irritating, but it is a difference that he notices. What's nice about it, though, is as it grows out, it gets extremely comfortable. So this kind of midway point where it's not quite where he wants it to be will quickly kind of transition into nice fur again and feeling very comfortable. And Gizmo is pretty laid back in most of his world. So he doesn't get too freaked about too many things.
That's
but
true.
his physical manifestations for himself, he is very aware of like paw pressure and kind of his facial, because he's got the punched in face, his facial stuff. And so for him, where he gets, I'm assuming we didn't shave anything around the face, correct?
No.
Yeah. Had that happened, or if anything along those lines had been, attempted, that would have really bothered him. He doesn't like his head played with. But in other areas, he's just really good right now. He also loves the fact that it's spring. It's more active. There's more things to see. So he is cooler, and that feels good. But cats like heat, so he's likely to seek out the sun more now because he's shaved.
Yeah, he does.
But
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah. But you've got plenty of that. It feels like in your area, so he's pretty happy.
Jeff, thanks so much for calling in. We're going to take
Thank you.
another call now. Suzanne, tell us about what's going on with one of your animals, Suzanne.
I'm talking about my dog, Misty, and I recently lost a cat and then brought another cat in and then brought another dog in, and I'm just wondering how she's feeling about all of this.
Well, Misty is a highly intelligent dog and is very, she's very attuned to her world. She can be a little anxious, but this actually is good for her. This is broadening her perspective.
Suzanne, I'm going to have you hold because we're actually having to take a break. So we're going to finish up finding out a little bit about Misty. Misty will tell us. I think there's a movie about Misty in a radio station, but we're not going to go there. Stay tuned. AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and you're listening to Connections Radio Show, and we'll be right back after a few announcements. Thanks for listening. Connections Radio Show wants to feature your favorite nonprofits as well as the arts that mean the most to you. Do you have a nonprofit you care about or an artist that you'd like to have featured on Connections Radio Show? We have very reasonable advertising and sponsorship packages that would provide for an on-air segment or perhaps a whole show. Interested? I'm Lori Fitz, and contact me at fitzradio@gmail.com. That's fitzradio@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Stages Theater Company is dedicated to creating a space where diverse opinions, courageous dialogue, and community engagement is not only valued, but vital to our shared artistic and educational success. Stages Theater Company creates a welcoming home for all. For over 30 years, Stages has supported quality theater programming for children. Stages gives opportunities for youth to be on stage, backstage, in the audience, and in the classroom. Whether you come to see a show, enroll a young person in a workshop, or benefit from their outreach programs in the community, Stages brings art to life. Learn about Stages Theater by going to stagestheater.org and become part of the magic of live theater by taking your family to an amazing show or enrolling someone you love in an education program. Stages Theater Company operates out of the Hopkins Center for the Arts, located in Main Street in the heart of downtown Hopkins. For more information on Stages Theater, go to stagestheater.org. That's stagestheater.org.
Minnesota is home to the only major institution in North America devoted to Russian art, history, and culture. The Museum of Russian Art, located off 35W on Diamond Lake Road in South Minneapolis, can be your personal connection to extraordinary artists, stories, and context. We offer more exhibitions and events than ever before, from concerts and lectures to vodka tastings and more. Open daily, free parking, and a great Groupon deal. Find out more at tmora.org.
Hello, AM 950 listeners. I am Tabitha Montgomery, Executive Director of Powderhorn Park Neighborhood Association, taking a moment to extend a very warm invitation to our first annual Powderhorn Shark Tank competition, where our stellar panel of jurors have already selected several dozen amazing ideas from local makers, hustlers, and entrepreneurs from across Minneapolis. So mark your calendars for Saturday, May 19th between 2:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. at Powderhorn Park Recreation Center, where you can join the fun and cast your vote for your favorite ideas across our expanding, emerging, and startup categories. You can also plan to enjoy the Shark Tank Marketplace, which will be stocked with many local businesses, and also connect with a dozen or so business resources in our speed coaching zone if you're also working on your own big idea. See you on Saturday, May 19th.
That you've made the connection today because we're having lots of fun with an intuitive medium, Christine Schroeder. Welcome, Christine.
I'm having fun.
Oh, I'm so glad. And Christine, you do counseling. You can have folks do counseling over the phone, or they can come to your location, as well as doing some trainings too.
Yep, we do some advising. I work out of a space called the Center for Performing Arts, and I offer classes, and we do seminars, and I do Skype, phone readings, all kinds of stuff.
And the best way to get a hold of you is through your website?
Yep. All my information, my telephone number, email, direct connection is through the website. It's ChristineIntuitiveMedium.wordpress.com.
Terrific. Well, in our last segment, we were talking to the animals that have all now calmed down in the studio, and we heard a couple call-ins, and we're just in the middle of talking to our friend Suzanne. Suzanne, are you there?
I am.
Did you have any other follow-up questions about Misty?
No, I just wanted to know how she's feeling about the other pets. And
Right. I think the most beneficial addition to this mix has been the little dog, the small, what I call squirrel dog. She has been the best kind of rejuvenation for her. It feels like the other animals are a little older and a little less active, and Misty feels like she is an active kind of runabout dog, yet she's pretty mellow in general, but this squirrel dog has really kind of regenerated her and gotten her going in a way, so that's a really great connection.
Terrific. Well, thanks, Suzanne, for calling in. We now have Elizabeth.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, you have two. You have a animal question, then we're going to go into the career question you have. So, Elizabeth, how are you today?
Hi, I'm doing well.
Good.
And what's your question about your animal?
So, I moved here about 2 years ago, and I had to leave my 2 cats back in Colorado.
Okay.
And I don't have great communication with the person that still has them, so I was wondering how they were doing, if there's anything they need or anything that I can provide.
Sure. Can you give me their names?
Yeah, Gopher and Leo.
They seem really entwined with one another. Are they really a pair?
They've been together a long time, like a decade.
Yeah. They're very. You couldn't have split them up. Neither one would have survived while being kind of separated. They're doing fine. It's a very different way of being in the world, though, than the way you treated them. They're being treated like just cats. I think you treated them very much like family members. So it's a little different dynamic, but because they have one another, they're actually doing okay. I think is one older than the other?
Yeah, one is maybe a year or two older, and was the other one came in more as like a teenager when she was an adult.
Gotcha. The older one feels like there may be some health issues coming up. Nothing dramatic, just kind of normal aging type things. But by and large, they're okay. I think the relationship discord between you and this person isn't going to change, so you're just going to have to kind of trust your gut on the fact that they are being treated well. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Now, you also had a career question.
Yes. I have made a really big career change, and I've been trying to figure out the best way to say it, but what do I need to know about my career progress and finances? Like, was this a good move? Is this going to be what I'm doing for a while, or is there just a lot more opportunities out there?
I think it's a mix and mingle in this sense. I think financially it may start to increase, but there's a little bit of what I call hazard pay involved in that you're going to have to earn that extra money. The other piece to this is it feels like more towards October, things are going to open up for you in the sense of looking for kind of side hustle. I don't know if you are in a 24/7 type position in your career, but it feels as though you start creating other opportunities that are complementary to what you want to do, but broaden it. So if you were, say a doctor that you suddenly became a specialized physician as opposed to a GP, a general practitioner, it feels like you're going to kind of create a better base in this career in terms of knowledge for yourself. Right now it feels a little bit like you're backwards and forwards about decisions too, about how to do this. So just be open right now because you don't have clarity in what you want to do with this. I will say within 3 years, this is going to look very different. It's going to have pieces of the same aspects of what you're doing right now, but I do get a sense that it's going to become much more media-based and much more you-based. So I don't know if you're ready to kind of launch yourself in the public eye, but there will be a piece of that for you.
Terrific.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. Appreciate you calling in. We now have Abby. Abby. Hi, you've got a career question.
I do. So I've been a stay-at-home mom for about 4.5 years since my daughter was born, but at the same time I was having a lot of health issues that are still somewhat ongoing, but mostly resolving. And I'm thinking about going back to work sometime in the future, and I kind of wanted to know what that looked like because I don't think that I'm going to go back to the same thing that I was doing, and I wanted to just get Christine's insights on kind of what direction to take that and what the timing might be.
Sure. You have an eclectic group of interests, and so what at this point are you thinking of doing? Because I can tell you whether you're going to head that way or not. So what, at this point, where do you think you'd like to go?
So I have two things. I really like writing, and so something that involves that. But also I've started to think about something related to healing in a really broad sense.
I was going to say, is health and wellness at all a perspective for you? Because I do see that being a piece of this, but I also get a sense that you're kind of a little bit of a mix and mingle in that you're going to be bringing people to you. So if you do anything in the health and wellness, you will do it in a broad landscape. So you probably will use your writing skills for that. You might be a talking head for a group. You may be the facilitator for a new modality. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so much for calling, Abby. Now we have Shelby. Shelby, we only have, we have less than a minute. So Shelby, I'm going to have you hold on, and we'll take you in the next segment, and we'll look forward to hearing your career question. Okay, Shelby? All right, good. So you're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and this is Connections Radio Show. And today we have Christine Schroeder, who is an intuitive medium. And I want to make sure that Christine has a chance to talk about her website so that if you have questions after the show that you still want to find out from Christine, you can do that.
Great. You can connect with me at christineintuitivemedium.wordpress.com.
And stay tuned up until the last because we're going to talk about trainings that she has. So if you want to sign up for your own intuition skill training, there's opportunities for that too.
Hello, AM 950 listeners. I am Tabitha Montgomery, Executive Director of Powderhorn Park Neighborhood Association, taking a moment to extend a very warm invitation to our first annual Powderhorn Shark Tank competition, where our stellar panel of jurors have already selected several dozen amazing ideas from local makers, hustlers, and entrepreneurs from across Minneapolis. So mark your calendars for Saturday, May 19th between 2:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. at Powderhorn Park Recreation Center, where you can join the fun and cast your vote for your favorite ideas across our expanding, emerging, and startup categories. You can also plan to enjoy the Shark Tank Marketplace, which will be stocked with many local businesses, and also connect with a dozen or so business resources in our speed coaching zone if you're also working on your own big idea. See you on Saturday, May 19th.
Connections Radio Show wants to feature your favorite nonprofits as well as the arts that mean the most to you. Do you have a nonprofit you care about or an artist that you'd like to have featured on Connections Radio Show? We have very reasonable advertising and sponsorship packages that would provide for an on-air segment or perhaps the whole show. Interested? I'm Lori Fitz, and contact me at fitzradio@gmail.com. That's FITZ radio@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
Hi, Matt McNeil for Rudy Luther Toyota. My first Toyota love was the RAV4 back in 1998. When I was traveling in February, I needed a rental car, and I jumped at the opportunity to drive one again. The RAV4 is fantastic with all the bells and whistles you need, and it has all the modern safety features to keep us safe. Comfort as we vacationed. It fit all 5 of us and our luggage with ease. I was able to revisit my first love. Now, you can fall in love for yourself by test driving a RAV4 today at Rudy Luther Toyota, the southeast corner of 394 and 169.
You know, honey, I think I deserve some kind of reward.
Here, have a pickle.
Thanks. After all, I did find us the perfect house.
Have another pickle.
Thank you.
But remember, then I found out how much our house was going to cost.
Yeah, but then I found us the perfect mortgage. Got any more of these?
Sure, help yourself. But then I found out our perfect house had radon. The stuff you can't see, smell, or taste. And it's radioactive. And it's the second leading cause of lung cancer. Some dream house.
Yeah.
I need 2 pickles.
True. But then I found a phone number to call, 1-800-SOS-RADON, where you can get all the information you need to test and fix a home with a radon problem.
You did.
Yeah, and then I found out we were going to have a baby. So, you know, your study, it'd be a perfect room for my mother.
Right. Now I need a phone number to fix a home with a mother-in-law problem.
Hey.
I'm in a pickle. Did you say baby?
Do we have any ice cream?
Protect your family from radon. Make your home safer. Call 1-800-SOS-RADON. 1-800-SOS-RADON.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 84. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 61. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a high near 70. And Sunday, cloudy with a high around 67. The Downtowner Woodfire Grill is the Eat Local Minnesota restaurant of the week. They have daily fresh seafood specials, fire-roasted meals, exquisite pizza, and half-price bottles of wine Mondays and Tuesdays except on Excel Energy event nights. They have gift certificates available too. Located at 253 West 7th Street in downtown St. Paul. More at downtownerwoodfire.com.
So glad you joined the fun today. I'm Lori Fitz. I am the host of Connections Radio Show, and we're talking about psychic connections. And we've had all sorts of great calls with folks calling in about careers, about animals. We're also going to be talking about relationships and all other cool things, but we're going to stay on career for just a little bit longer. We almost said hello to you, Shelby. Shelby, are you there?
I am. Hi.
Hi, Shelby. Thank you for holding your question. You have a career question as well.
Hello.
I do. Hi. So in my current position right now, I'm feeling really burnt out, and I've started looking a little, but I just don't feel like I have the energy. So just looking for a little guidance on what direction I should go. I have a lot of interest, and that's also a little confusing for me.
Sure. I think what I would do if I were you is I would try and stay the course, not at the current position that you're at, but the current career trajectory. Don't try and jump fields just yet. Try and land in a situation that's a little calmer. And what you've got going on right now is not, it's not healthy. You're aware of it. That's why it's draining your energy. You are a natural kind of what I call an uber mommy. You're somebody who wants to parent and fix. And so it's kind of draining your energy on that level. So try and really be cognizant of pulling that energy away. Look for the good enough job, not the one that's going to handle your career into where you want it to be quite this year. That's more next year. But the good enough job actually allows you the brain space to do this. So, and I would say probably by August, you're out of this position.
Okay.
How's that sound, Shelby?
That sounds really good.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you, Shelby. All right, let's go to Jocelyn. Jocelyn, welcome to Connections Radio Show. You have a career question, too.
I do. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm kind of just sitting in a little bit of a cross paths right now. I'm trying to figure out where my career is going to end up going. I'm just coming off maternity leave, getting back into work, and I don't know if I'm making the right decisions or if I need to just stay put for now and then where I'm supposed to be will be later. I don't know.
Yeah, I get a sense of meh, that you're just kind of like, I don't know that I want this. I don't know that I want that. I don't know. You know, it's you're in front of a smorgasbord going, none of it looks good. And that's okay, because I think some of this tug is about parenthood, staying home, kind of wanting that aspect of your life to be more pronounced. But I get that career is important to you. You are an independent type person. You need this. I would say going back to work is probably the good thing. How you choose to do that, though, I think may be a stutter step. So you may start going right back into your career like it was, and then you may decide, you know what, I think I either want half-time or, you know what, I don't want to do this aspect anymore. I'm only going to do part of this position. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely,
okay.
yeah.
So look for that to be kind of what this year is like. Next year, 2019, 2020, I see your career really taking off then. And it's because of the opportunities that come. So it's nothing that you can kind of line up in your head right now. You just have to be open to it. And I would be open to it right about right about November into January of this year, and then rolling into next year.
Awesome.
Cool.
Great. Thank you so
I'll
much for
take
your
that.
call, Jocelyn. Does that work for you?
I think she's gone.
Okay. All right. So now, Anna. Anna, my friend, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, Anna. Anna, do you have a question about careers as well?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm still in college, but I found that there are a lot of things that I like to do, and I'm kind of wondering how I should figure out how to focus that and figure out what I actually want to do.
Right. You're always going to be eclectic. You are not afraid to be quirky. You're not afraid to mix and mingle. That's just kind of your nature. You do want a bigger world, though. And so what I would do is anything that advances your opportunity to travel and meet people, things along those lines. Where are you kind of aiming your sights while you're in school here?
Well, journalism, but maybe radio or photojournalism. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I would weigh it a little heavier on the journalism because I think that's more portable for you. The media piece of it is something that's going to naturally kind of organically evolve for you. I think that's because journalism goes hand in hand with that. But you also want the opportunity to do this like from India or, Dubai or wherever. So pieces of this will afford you that opportunity. I think you also have a great perspective, and I think journalism affords you the opportunity to share that perspective. So that's where I would kind of weight my energies right now.
Fantastic. Okay, cool.
Very exciting. Thank you, Anna. All right, let's go to Rose. Rose, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Rose, now you've got a relationship question, right?
No, I have a career question.
Career question.
Well.
Rose, go for it. We have an Eva
Okay.
Rose, too, so I thought maybe that was Eva Rose. So Rose, we're going to stick on the career. What is your career question?
Okay. Well, I had been out of work for about 18 months, and I just started a new job this past week, and I am wondering if I am going to be, I feel very good about this position, so I feel like this is where I was supposed to be, so I'm wondering, am I going to be successful in this new position with this company?
Yes, and it also feels like you are a little bit of a rah-rah girl and a little bit of a cheerleader right now. So that's great. They love your enthusiasm for this. They love kind of your drive for this, but try not to overwhelm. It feels like you can be a little bit intense at the moment. Does that make sense? And some of that's just because it's the first week. Some of that is because you're really into it. Pardon me?
I heard the part about the rah-rah, yes. And so after that, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the rest of it.
I just said you can be a little intense, and I think some of that's just because it is feeling so good and it's the first week. But as you kind of move into this, relax. Just kind of really recognize that this is your spot. You can own this. You can go far with this, too. So just kind of relax into it.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much, Rose. We're going to go to Jeff. Jeff, you've got a question about your ancestor.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
My paternal grandmother died many years ago. She had a hard life, and I didn't really fully appreciate her. I loved her dearly, and she loved me, but I never really fully appreciated just what a wonderful person she was. I just want to know, what can you tell me about her? Is she crossed over? Is she happy?
Sure. Can you give me her name?
Oster Rosenberg.
She was really a mix and mingle of the old country and very modern Millie. She was very progressive in her thoughts and her ideas and all about family, but you're right. She had a lot of heavy history in her, and not an easy life in her childhood. She really, though, strove to live beyond it. She's very much around you. I think that kinship that you feel with her is you were very similar in ideals in some ways, even though she was very different than you and had a different experience. She's definitely crossed over. She loves being able to spin the plates where she is because she gets to kind of be an influencer. In modern times, she would have been a healthier version of a Kim Kardashian. She just likes to be able to kind of control all the bells and whistles. But she's also very, very caring. So she's a lot about family. Does that resonate with you?
Quite a bit, yes. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in, Jeff. We have Eva. Eva, how are you today?
Hi, I'm great, thank you.
You have a relationship question.
I do. I was just wondering, so I haven't really been in any long-term serious relationships yet. And I was wondering when or if that is going to happen for me, and when I'll know when it's time to be in a really committed relationship.
Sure. What age are you right now?
I am 16.
You are 16. Okay. You tend to want to dive in with both feet, but you also have a part of you that wants to make sure the temperature is just right, and you got your towel and your sunscreen, and make sure that the pillows are all fluffed, and let's see how this all should look, and oh my gosh, is that person really good for me? And so you do a lot of fretting around this and a lot of overanalyzing, and I think what's going to happen is somebody's just going to kind of sneak up on you, and it'll be more of a friendship to begin with, and then you'll wake up one morning and recognize, oh, you know what, I'm really interested in this person. I don't get a sense that that's going to happen until probably more next year than this year. I think this year is a lot about gearing up to how you want to be in relationships because you give it a lot of thought. Does that make sense to you?
Definitely.
Okay. You are probably going to marry young, and that's not a bad thing. Just be sure that you are marrying your best friend because for you that's going to be the most important thing.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Just invite me to the wedding.
All right, will do.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you for calling in. Well, we've had a whole round of callers. If you're interested in calling in, you may. We'll see if we can take you. We will need you to be telling the producer when you call in your date of birth, but we will not put that on air. No. But just give you your full name and your date of birth. The number is 952-946-6205. Again, that's 952-946-6205. What we're going to do in the last couple minutes of this segment is have you tell us a little bit about the classes that you give.
Right. I actually teach intuition, and the way in which I do it is I kind of throw people in on the deep end. I think we all can resonate with intuition, that hair on the back of the neck feeling. My philosophy is you need to kind of grab hold of that, and we all have our process that we use to understand our intuition. I teach beginning, middle, and advanced. And it is a group dynamic where people will read one another. And hopefully you walk out of the class with a sense of your own intuition being more something you can use in your daily life. That's my goal with it. I also offer classes on what I call Build-A-Mate. And that is more the relationship end of things, in finding out what you really want and how to change your defaults.
You also work with work groups, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I call it corporate balancing. It's just a fancy way of kind of addressing that work dynamic that can happen where you end up with people that don't always resonate so well together, and how to kind of go past that and move past that, and using not just your intuition, but kind of your overall idea of the other person, and changing your way of looking at that.
Being able to walk in their shoes maybe a little bit?
A little bit of that, yeah, a little bit of empathy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And parties and events. Fun stuff.
Definitely.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that in the next segment, because we're closing in on this one. So you're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. We're talking about connections today on Connections Radio Show. And stay tuned, because we're going to have even more fun in the last segment.
Hi, I'm Damian Strange, Executive Director of Northeast Minneapolis Arts Association, NEMA, and I'm personally inviting you to Art World May 18th through the 20th. View artwork of over 650 artists in every medium at more than 50 locations throughout Northeast Minneapolis, including studio buildings, art galleries, homes, storefronts, and local businesses. The Artist Open Studio Tour may include demonstrations, mini workshops, installations, and special exhibitions. Studio tours offer a great opportunity to ask questions, discuss techniques, experience art firsthand, and purchase unique artwork directly from artists. Art World gives you a unique opportunity to meet the artists who make our community so vibrant, and invest in our art community by purchasing artwork that you connect with. For more information, go to nemaa.org. That's nema.org. Looking forward to seeing you at Art World.
It's a great day for a bike ride. What's that? You can't find your bike? Oh, it has a flat. No problem. Take it to Nokomis Cycle, the hardest working bike shop in town. They're celebrating their 23rd year in business. In that time, they've mastered the art of friendly, dependable service. So keep life and your bike moving with Nokomis Cycle, working harder to make you go faster. Nokomis Cycle at the corner of 46th and Bloomington Avenue South in Minneapolis, or at nokomiscycle.com.
Connections Radio Show is all about tapping into our hardwired hunger to connect. We examine meaningful connections to ourselves, our community, and the world around us. By opening the door to innovative insights by a wide variety of interesting guests, we'll make the connections to something bigger than ourselves. Join me, Lori Fitz, your host of Connections Radio Show, and together we'll make the connections. Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Stages Theater Company is dedicated to creating a space where diverse opinions, courageous dialogue, and community engagement is not only valued, but vital to our shared artistic and educational success. Stages Theater Company creates a welcoming home for all. For over 30 years, Stages has supported quality theater programming for children. Stages gives opportunities for youth to be on stage, backstage, in the audience, and in the classroom. Whether you come to see a show, enroll a young person in a workshop, or benefit from their outreach programs in the community, Stages brings art to life. Learn about Stages Theater by going to stagestheater.org and become part of the magic of live theater by taking your family to an amazing show or enrolling someone you love in an education program. Stages Theater Company operates out of the Hopkins Center for the Arts, located in Main Street in the heart of downtown Hopkins. For more information on Stages Theater, go to stagestheater.org. That's stagestheater.org. Good morning and welcome back to Connections Radio Show. I'm Laurie Fitz, your host, and we have been having Christine Schroeder, who is an intuitive medium, talk to some of our guests about careers, about their animals, about their relationships, and we've been finding out other cool things that Christine can do. Christine can be hired to talk on the phone or to Skype. You can come to her office. We also found out she does things with workplaces and get kind of a workplace balancing. And you were just about to tell us about parties too.
Right. I do large group events, small group events. I do what I call a stand-up psychic routine, which is kind of a gallery reading for parties where people are all together in the room, and I kind of individually pick on people and read them and kind of riff on who they are and what they are, which can be a lot of fun.
So tell me about your work as a medium.
Mediumship is really an interesting aspect to my work. I connect with people that have crossed over, always have. It can be something that people find very positive. Some people can find it very just intriguing. Some people just have interesting questions about it. But it can really kind of give people some peace of mind as well, which I enjoy. But it's been some of the most interesting for me in some sense because I can't guess what happens. People will send me images. I had one woman who asked me about her grandfather, and he kept showing me bacon in his pocket.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, what? And so I just said to her, I said, did he carry bacon in his pocket? She's like, are you saying bacon or bacon? I said, well, I don't know, but it looks like bacon. She said, well, he carried bacon strips, which are a dog treat, because he was a mailman.
Oh, fun.
And I said, well, then that's him.
Yeah. Well, I have a question about my grandmother's father.
Okay.
Catlin. My grandmother's name is Pearl Catlin, Pearl Iva Catlin. Her father was a horse trainer.
Okay.
And he did carriage horse training.
Okay.
And I sometimes just imagine, because my grandmother loved horses, and I inherited that love of horses mostly from her and that side of the family. But I would love to know what he thinks about my horses and how I train them, and if he has any suggestions or any comments about the horses in my life.
Well, he really was, in his era, a horse whisperer.
Yes.
I mean, he was really very highly regarded.
Yes. He had horses from all over the country that would be trained, literally put on a train and brought up to Fairmont.
Yeah.
He sort of had the Maserati of carriage horses.
Yep, truly. And so he was very adept at what he did. And he was all about that connection. You know what I mean? He really embodied that life. He thinks that you do that well as well. He's very much intrigued by the fact that you're a woman and you do this. Not that he never would have perceived that, because he did with his own children and everything. It was never a problem for him. But if you were contemporaries today, you would be great friends. He would have really respected and responded to that. The other piece to this for him is great historian too. It's like he really had a wealth of knowledge about horses, but the history of and the world around, he was very into every aspect of that. And I think that's something that you would resonate with.
Well, that brings up the next question that I've had about grandfather Catlin. Legend has it in the family that he was the nephew of George Catlin, who was an English painter that came over and painted Native Americans and married Native American in art.
Sure.
And I have also been told that my great-grandfather married a Native American, so my great-grandmother is Native American.
Yes, I do believe so, but I don't think she was full Native American.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, so, and He was an irregular peg in kind of everything he did. It just didn't matter to him. He was not somebody who suffered fools gladly. So,
was he related to George Catlin?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Was he his nephew or his son? Because there was...
I think he was his son, but he was on the other side of the blanket.
Well, it's exactly
So,
because their legend and the history around Catlin was that he had children in Minnesota, but that he called it himself the brother and not the father.
Yes,
so
yes. And that
because
was
he had a family back in England too.
And really it had more to do with inheritance than anything else, that he knew that they were never going to gain by that connection. And yes, Dad was a little proper in some sense and improper in another. But your grandfather didn't cotton to that. It was all about genuine connections for him.
And did he learn some of the way to work with horses through his Native American community?
Definitely. And he was really a survivalist. I mean, he just knew that that was a way for him to really not just earn a living, but be in the world.
And distinguish himself as himself.
Yeah, and it was a natural talent, so he just ran with it. So, yeah. He was very progressive for his era, would fit very well in modern day times as well.
Interesting, because George Catlin, of course, was one of the first to really recognize the multicultural glory of Native American and portrayed their ceremonies, and it was very honoring of the Native American.
Very respectful, yeah.
And his daughter, my grandmother, Pearl, does she have anything to say about the horses?
Well, she loved, like you say, she loves the horses too. She was a little bit more of she liked the odd horses. She liked the horses with a little bit of spit and vinegar in them because she liked to be able to kind of run wild with that. I think your grandmother was a little ahead of her time.
Very much so.
Yeah,
she was a suffragette.
Yeah,
she
there
got
you
a
go.
master's degree in chemistry. She was planning to be a teacher, but a cowboy came and wooed her by singing to her on a horseback.
Yep, and that was just what she needed. And options. So she always took those options. So yeah, I'm going to say that she's definitely proud of you, because I think she would have really enjoyed this aspect of your life too. But yeah, she's very much around you.
Oh, that's wonderful. She was very proper. But then she also had a real love of science.
Yes.
And imbued that into my father as well, a real passion for understanding the world.
Yes, and I think you have a vein of intellect in your family that supersedes pretty much everything in terms of it's never going to die out in your family. So.
Well, she had a horse named Old Colonel that she just adored, and I'm just hoping that she's with Old Colonel now.
Definitely. That is something that people don't understand, is that our animals come with us.
Well, she had so many stories about Old Colonel that I'm just so glad that she's back with her horse now.
Yes, definitely.
Well, Christine, thank you so much for spending the day with us today and talking to my listeners about questions that they have and connecting me with my ancestors as well as connecting me with my animals.
Wonderful.
Again, I want you to make sure that you share your website so that folks know how to connect with you.
Wonderful. It's ChristineIntuitiveMedium.wordpress.com. And you can also connect with me at my email, cspsychic@gmail.com. That's on the website as well.
And the types of readings that you do include advice like what we did today, career, relationship, maybe some dreams, connecting with ancestors.
Definitely. Yes, I pretty much, if you've got a question, I will try and answer it.
So think about making the connection with Christine. And thanks for joining us today and being part of the Connections Radio Show here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. And stick with us for next week, too. We've got a great show coming up on gardening.
Woo.
All the best.
Thank you.